Hey, we back. I'm here on kind of Karuta, and we're talking about this bot here called Keqing, which, if you are in any reasonably large Karuta servers, you've probably seen before, because it is a pretty popular Karuta help bot. It has a lot of pretty nice features that I'm going to try and go over today. I will not include the premium features, or at least demonstrations of them. That will probably be a separate video. But today I'm just going to go over what the bot can do in general, whether you want to use it or not, I guess, give my opinion on it. Long story short, yeah, it's pretty nice. And just kind of explain how it works and what you do in order to use it. Now, to start off, of course, we have the help menu, and all bots have one of these. A help. A is the default prefix, and it's got a pretty nice help menu. If you notice, these are all links. And they take you to the official the official website. So since it's laid out pretty well, I'm just going to take you guys straight over there and show you what this looks like, because it actually explains the bot pretty well in general. It's got some general information here, like inviting the bot and prefixes and stuff like that. I'm just generally going to assume that you probably know how that all works, because it's the same as with any other bot, and get on straight to the features. Firstly, we have the effort calculator. Now, this basically is going to tell you how much effort a card can possibly get, the maximum amount that it can get. So as you can see here, this is with dies, with frames, mystic dies as well, with max vanity. It'll also show with max toughness, all things like that, and you'll end up with a number here which is presumably a lot bigger than your number here. It'll also tell you what effort it'll get if you upgraded it, so you'll need to tell it what quality it is, because you can't figure that out from the command itself, which is the WI command, well, worker info, if you are not aware, which is a basic Karuta command. But yeah, it's pretty helpful. Of course, it can change the amount of effort that a worker it depends on their burn value, and of course that changes over time, as well as it says, actual values may vary. It's more accurate the closer you get to max, obviously, because the closer you are to max, then the less it's predicting, and the more it already knows, right? But in general, it's reasonably accurate. It's pretty close, and so if you want a rough estimate, this is certainly a good way to do it. It's got a nice little interface here as well, where you can see everything listed quite nicely. So it's got reaction trigger and auto response. Two different ways of triggering it. You'll have to have a particular channel with a particular name, such as these, and then as soon as you type KWI, it'll pop up straight away. Most people probably use the reaction trigger, which is where you react with this underneath your KWI, and it will then put the information underneath. This will be added by Keqing automatically. So if I go over to Discord and find an example here, I'll just check my KC, find a card that I claimed recently. Here we go. I'll check the worker effort on this one. It's pretty low. You see it's got this reaction at the bottom, and if I click on this, it'll ask me what the quality of the card is. The quality of the card is good, so I'll pick good. And then it's going to tell me that the maximum possible effort is a whopping 38. I'm not surprised, given that Rundle House Code here is a high print edition one with basically no wish lists. But yeah, you can see it gives all the information with the different upgrades you could give it, toughness, vanity, all the rest of it. And it says at the bottom, if your card is high printed, do not look at max A vanity results, because it'll never get there, which is accurate. As you can see, the percentage that it varies by is much more, because this card is in good condition, whereas the example on the website here was already in mint. So yeah, that's pretty helpful. It's got some other information about how workers in general works here, and how it's calculating things, which is pretty interesting if you want to have a look at that. But in general, that's how you use the feature. So let's go on to the next one. Next one is the frame tester. The frame tester does, well, what you would imagine it to do. You do KLU, as you can see in this GIF here, of a particular character, and then you can react underneath with the paintbrush emoji, and it'll generate a frame for you. after you write which frame it is. Again, it's got a nice little description of how to use it here. It's basically what I said, and it's fairly self-explanatory, really. If you just read the 4 steps and do the 4 steps, you know, that it works pretty much. This is why I like this website. It's actually well explained. It's more than can be said for a lot of bots, to be fair. But yeah, you can also use this to have a look at the different frames that are available, and we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, this is a pretty nice feature. Worth noting that this isn't going to work with morphs and dyes and stuff, so you're going to have to just look at the default frame. But it will work with different editions of cards, so that's quite nice. And it's certainly worth getting a rough idea of what a card will look like with a frame. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Then we have the multi-frame tester. This is a premium feature, as it says here. So I'm not going to go over this too long, but basically, as you can see, it's the same as the regular frame tester, but it tests all the frames at once. That's pretty much all it is. Here you go. You can see there all the frames at once. It only shows it for a brief second of the GIF, but yes, it basically just does the same as the frame tester, but with all the frames at once. Again, we will go over premium features more in another video, but for now, let me just demonstrate the regular frame tester. So I'm once again going to grab Rundlehouse code here. I'm going to do KLU on him, and then I will grab the paintbrush emoji. It's going to put that there, and well, it's got a nice example for us. We could use Budokai frame. So I'll just enter that there. It'll take a second to generate the image, and there we go. We now know what that card would look like in that frame. Like I said, it's not going to do morphs or anything fancy like that, but it's pretty nice. It does have these other buttons here, where you can advertise premium at the moment because we don't have it on this server. But yeah, with premium features, it'll do something different again. That's for another video. We have the morph tester, which I alluded to and is very similar to the frame tester, but it does include morphs, but this is a premium feature, so we can skip over that one. There's a few reasons to buy premium on this bot. I won't lie, it's a pretty nice bot for premium. But yeah, you got the frame tester, so it's not too bad. Now we have the card tracer. Card tracer is, in my opinion, particularly useful, one of the more useful features of the bot. I mean, it depends, I guess, what you're looking for. The card tracer basically, over the course of however long Keqing has been active, it has been tracking every time cards get seen in a server, and you can use this to trace them. A trace, you can look for character, you can look for series, you can look for edition. It's got most of the same sorting flags as Karuta itself does, and they're all pretty much exactly the same, so that's quite nice. And what it's going to do is find you those cards, those card codes, and there some information about them and all the rest of it. At the moment, it can find low prints and mid prints of any character up to 500. And like I said, it's been tracking for however long this feature has been active. Now what this means is that any cards that were looked at frequently before it started tracking, you're not going to be able to find. So like if there's some character that's edition 1, for instance, that you really want to get a low print of, realistically a trace just isn't going to have it because it's not going to be viewed enough in the servers. But for example, if you're looking for an edition 4, as this nicely demonstrates here with Alice, it can find quite a few edition 4s, and then what you could do is you could view the card, look up information about the card, and potentially go and DM whoever owns it, try buy the card. I have used this a lot to try and buy some low prints of some more obscure characters that I like. Particularly I've been using it to find Ranma low prints, although they're pretty difficult to find, and so far no one has been willing to buy me them. But anyway, that's another story. It's pretty easy to use this because the filters are just the same as Karuta, and it's fairly self-explanatory what it does. I could give a quick demonstration if you want. Let's just use Rundlehouse code again, shall we? Let's see if there are any of Rundlehouse code. We're gonna have to put C. Unfortunately, I doubt it. I doubt it's gonna find anything. So this is probably an awful example, but that's edition 1s for you, eh? It's gonna take a second to actually search through the database. You have to understand that there's probably thousands of codes here. Oh, well, here you go. It has actually found some. There you go. We've got print number 2, print number 25, print number 44, and print number 301. Now, I have the card codes of all of those. They're pretty short because this is an edition 1 character. So if I wanted, I could grab one of these. I can do K-view on it. And then there's the owner of it, of course. I don't know who that guy is right now. I can't DM him, but you know, I could go and do some searching, find out who this guy is, potentially try and buy this card. I don't know. To be fair, I'm personally not particularly bothered about Rundle House Code. I mean, he's a nice character, but I'm not going to be buying the print number 2 of him anytime soon. I'll tell you that much. But yes, one thing to note though with this A-Trace is that as far as I'm aware, it doesn't remove card codes when they're burnt. So what you may find if a card gets burnt, which is very sad if it's below 500 print, but it absolutely does happen. One example being one of those Ranmalo prints that I was trying to buy, print number 38 or something I think it was, managed to get burnt. And so if you go and use the card code and it just says this card does not exist, it might still be in the Keqing database, but the card itself has been burnt. So if you find one of those burnt cards in the database, unlucky, I guess, someone burnt it, and there's nothing you can do about that, but there you go. It does happen. Potentially they will remove the burnt cards after a while, I'm not sure, but as far as I'm aware, they don't get removed, and to be fair, it's something that's probably quite difficult to track, so I imagine there's going to be quite a lot of burnt cards stored up in this database after a while, but yeah, there you go. This next feature is pretty self-explanatory and pretty simple. It just adds up the total number of bits that you've got. Again, you can put a little reaction underneath. This will be here for premium servers by default, and it won't be there for non-premium servers. So there's another reason to buy premium. But yeah, it's just going to tell you how many bits total you've got. You can see this guy has like 42,000. Then when you go onto the next page, it adds the rest, and up to 51,000. Woo! It'll tell you how many morphs you can do with that many bits as well, which in this case is a pretty respectable number of morphs, so that's nice. And that's all that one does really. Next we have the card code generator, which is pretty much the same thing. This will just create a list of all your card codes by going through your KC. Again, there's the reaction that you have to put, and without premium this isn't by default, but it is the pencil reaction, and it just generates all the cards on the KC that you're looking at, so it's a little bit easier to copy paste it, but that's all really. You can have some filters in here which kind of work, but it's a little sketchy, I guess. I get the feeling that this is probably a reasonably old feature compared with some of the other ones, but it's pretty simple, so at the end of the day you can't fault it, you know. Next we have the Keqing Finder, which is also pretty simple. Once again, you have to add this reaction. It's not there unless you're premium, but all it's going to do is tell you who the Keqing is, because normally when you look at a card, it's going to show you, well, like it did here, owned by, and then just whatever. It'll probably do the same if I look up who his Keqing is. We could check if you like. Here we go. He doesn't have a Keqing, okay, awful example. But if he did, it would say Keqing here, and then it would probably have a bunch of random numbers, the same as this is. So what this Keqing Finder is going to do is just tell you their username. So if you don't have any mutuals with them, of course, you can check mutuals by checking their ID and searching them in Karuta Hub and some other big servers like that. But if you can't find them with their ID, you can send them a friend request with their username and tag, so that's pretty nice. There's a lot of bots that you can convert ID into username and tag, so that's not anything particularly new, but yeah, this is still a pretty nice feature, so you can use that if you're looking for some Keqitos. By the way, any Keqing Bot developers, maybe add this for card owners. Hey, how's that sound? Good idea? Because sometimes you're looking for card owner, not Keqing. Anyway, it's pretty much the same feature again, so I would be down for that existing, that's for sure, and I can't imagine it's too hard. But hey, future Keqing feature, who knows? We've got not startboard, which is basically the same as starboard, as you can imagine. This is a little more difficult to set up, but yeah, you set the log channel and set the channel, like ping the channel, whatever it's called, like this. Only administrator can use this, obviously, and then you use the prefix with star, so by default that would be A star, like this, and you reply to the message, write A star, and it will just put that into Starboard. Like I say, it is pretty much the same as Starboard. It does check that the message that you're trying to add to Starboard is like from Karuta and actually is a drop and stuff like that. But yeah, it just adds it there, the same as Starboard does. So that's nothing particularly fancy, and you've probably seen something like this before. Just a nice way to store all your nice drops, perhaps if you wanted to pin them, and this is just a better way to do it. We have server drop ping, which is just a role that it'll ping every time a server drop happens. As you can see here, Karuta is dropping 3 cards. It'll only ping when the bot itself drops the card, not when just a random person drops them. But it'll ping when the server itself drops them, and you get the role by doing a drop watch. This is going to have to be enabled by your admins, obviously, because they might not want pings going out for all of the server drops. That's up to them. But yeah, see, sometimes it's disabled in a particular server. But yeah, you can also, if you have premium, I believe this is a premium feature, restrict it to a certain role. I'm not sure actually if that's premium. I thought it was, but it doesn't say it's here. So maybe you can do that anyway. Hey, who knows? But yeah, you can restrict it to a certain role if you want, which is pretty cool. Wishlist notifier, basically the same thing, just pings for wish lists. That'll do it on someone dropping a card or on the bot itself dropping a card. It's set up the same way as the server drop ping with a wish watch. You can disable it if you're an admin across your server, etc, etc. So yeah, pretty much the same thing again. And then the last feature on the list is the global market. Now, my opinion of this particular feature is a bit hit or miss, really, because at the end of the day, while it is really cool that you have this global market and you can search it with the same filters as everything else, as Karuta in general, as the A-Trace, as all the rest of it, at the end of the day, actually, there's not a whole lot of stuff on this market. It may look like a lot. I mean, here you've got, 500 cards. It may seem like a lot, and there's probably a lot more than that now. But actually, there's not a whole lot. If you are searching for a particular character on there, the chances that there is that character at all, pretty low. The chances that it's one that you want, even lower. There's not going to be any choice in the matter. You're probably only going to have one version of that character there, and then they're just going to be stupidly overpriced anyway, and no one cares anymore. I think you get the point, but it is a bit hit or miss. Now, you can absolutely find some good stuff on here. If you wanna look for stuff on here and then buy it, you're welcome to do so. It is pretty nice to have, and I certainly don't dislike the feature. But at the end of the day, I have never found a card that I wanted on there, and I have found plenty of cards in Karuta Hub, just trading channel. I find it's a lot easier to use, and everyone posts their ads in the trading channel. Most people do not post their cards on the global market, especially as I believe you need premium in order to actually add your card to the market. Yeah, there we go. To prevent more scams, this command is only enabled on our official server and on premium servers. So most people that are selling cards are not adding them to the market, which means that actually the chances that you find something on there that you want is pretty low. On the other hand, if you are on a premium server, there's no harm in adding your cards to the market. If you do want to sell them, it's just extra advertising. So feel free, go ahead. Plus, the more people that do go ahead, the better the market gets and the more people use it, and it kind of snowballs. But at the moment, I feel like the feature is not used enough by the Karuta community in general for it to actually be worth it. There's just not that much there. So I don't know, that's my opinion on it. But either way, how to use it is pretty easy. As you can see, we've got a market view card code to view details of a card on the market. You can just do a market or whatever your prefix is with some filters, and it's got a bunch of examples here. Also, doesn't help that the global market resets every couple of weeks. It makes sense. I can see why they did that, because cards might sell and then not get removed from the market. It would get choked up a little bit if it wasn't reset. But again, that's just another reason why there's not so much stuff on the market, which is a real shame. But yeah, there you go. As for adding your cards on the market, I'm just going to scroll through this. You can have a pause and have a look if you want. But again, I will go over this kind of thing more in a premium video. How to buy a card. Unfortunately, there's no inbuilt way to buy a card because this is not Karuta, this is Keqing. So all you can actually do is just market view the card code and then contact the owner of the card yourself. There's no other way around that, I'm afraid, because at the end of the day, Keqing is not hooked up to Karuta directly. It's just a helper bot. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. What we really need is Karuta itself to add in a market, because then it wouldn't have issues with scams, because it could make it so that the market trades were actually enforced. Everyone would start using it, and it would be actually inbuilt. This would be a great feature for the Karuta devs themselves to add, because it's kind of difficult for a helper bot to emulate it. But at the end of the day, like I said, this is not a bad feature. They've done a good job adding it as much as they can. So for now, you're just going to have to go and DM the person that you want to buy the card from. And then hopefully, after they've sold their card, they will remove it from the market. But given that they have to wipe it every couple of weeks, I feel like most people probably aren't doing that, which is a shame. Anyway, this video is longer than I expected, which I guess makes sense because Keqing is a pretty good bot and it's got a lot of features. Going through them, even just the non-premium ones, did take a while. I'm not going to demonstrate the market because I feel like it's fairly self-explanatory. You just run the command. It's the same as A-Trace, pretty much. And then DM whoever owns it. So I'm going to end this video here. Like I said, there will be a video on Keqing Premium soon enough. Maybe in a couple of days, we'll see. But for now, I'm going to leave this video here. And I hope you enjoy, you know, helping Karuta, I guess. I don't know. Like, enjoy something. Enjoy something. Or don't. Screw you. Yeah. Bye.